once again to the Midlife Adventurers video blog. Have you done lounge hopping just like bar hopping? Well, recently I was at the JFK airport's Terminal 4 to take my flight to Singapore, which is, by the way, the world's longest flight. But before boarding the flight, I tried out 3 different lounges. So here's my experience. First, some background. As my previous posts and videos have detailed, I recently went on a 3-week 3-nation tour that took me to Singapore, Cambodia and Malaysia. I was taking the world's longest flight, the JFK to Singapore flight, operated by Singapore Airlines from JFK, from where some of the world's busiest and longest routes are operated. I live in Canada, so I flew a day ahead to New York to be fully rested to enjoy the business class flight, which was to last almost 19 hours. Surprisingly, the Singapore Airlines doesn't have its own lounge at JFK. Instead, the check-in counter officials directed us as business class passengers to Air India's Maharaja Lounge and the Primeclass Lounge. There's also the Virgin Clubhouse, but that's for Singapore Airlines Suites and Solitaire PPS Club members. We were traveling using our loyalty points. The flight to Singapore was late in the night and I had spent the whole day in New York. So I wanted to have a shower to feel rested before I board the flight. Unfortunately, neither lounge had a shower facility. But I had a solution. I had access to the Centurion Club Lounge through the American Express Platinum card. This is the list that includes those who have access to this lounge. The Centurion Lounge at the JFK Airport's Terminal 4 is massive, as many would see, spanning 2 floors with a total area of 15,000 square feet. We were checked in fast, and the first thing I wanted to do was to have a shower. The front desk officer was kind enough to check whether we could get a shower, and fortunately for me, the shower was available and they asked me to be back within 20 minutes. The shower was a compact cabin. It had a comfortably sized sink with all the necessities, including the dryer. The shower was also nice and clean with shampoo and everything else. And the towel was also laid out. Then there was the toilet, and the officer had given me a small package with toothbrush and toothpaste. And I was done in about 15 minutes. Afterwards, it was time to check what was available to eat. My first stop was the bar. The bar had a few beer and other alcohol varieties, along with cocktails, which are created together with local chefs. Here too, 1 drink per person policy was implemented, though I could get drinks for 2 people. For food, there was pasta, chicken, salads, etc. And of course, there were desserts as well. And then there were the usual dispensers for coffee and for pops. I then decided to check out the lounge's second floor. Again, it was almost the same food and bar options. But I also knew that the food options changed depending on the time of the day, and I went around 7 p.m. Let's check out some of the other facilities of this Centurion Lounge. There was comfortable seating for those dining, and then cushion chairs to work or just lounge and have a drink. There were also small cubicle-like spots for those who want some quietness to concentrate or work. I had signed up for an eSIM, but I didn't want to use up the data package, so the lounge's great Wi-Fi came in very handy. As I walked around, I saw this section cordoned off for Centurion members. And one has to mention the Speakeasy Lounge. Quite hidden from most of the visitors, this is the 3rd bar of the lounge and offers special alcohol drinks, including special cocktails. This is open in the evenings and is a members only bar. The lounge also features the Equinox Body Lab, which features treadmills, seating, and other features suitable for meditation, yoga, etc. All in all, the Centurion Lounge at the JFK Airport's Terminal 4 is a special lounge with great features. Having checked out the Centurion Lounge, it was time for me to check out the two lounges that the Singapore Airlines officials directed me to. The first lounge was Air India's Maharaja Lounge. This is located next to the Emirates Lounge. This was a smaller lounge with seats on either side of the only aisle. There were no comfortable sofa-like chairs, but the seating arrangement wasn't that uncomfortable either. I went there around 8 o'clock and the lounge closes at 9 p.m. so it was a low-key affair. I first checked out the food. There was of course rice and then a chickpea stew, a mixed vegetable curry, etc. There were also fruits and pop and beer cans in the mini fridge. Interestingly, this looked like an open bar unlike the Centurion Lounge. I also checked the Wi-Fi connection and it was pretty good. The toilets were clean, but as I mentioned earlier, this lounge doesn't have a shower facility. I didn't stay in the Maharaja Lounge for too long. I wanted to test the second Singapore Airlines partner lounge and the third lounge to be tested within 3 hours. So the next destination was the Primeclass Lounge. I went there around 9 p.m. and it was getting crowded. I suppose it is because some of the other lounges were being closed or already had closed, so those who had access were coming here. The Primeclass Lounge was also a smaller one. I checked the food options. This was more like a semi-fast food type lounge than one with fully fledged meal options. There were mostly sandwiches, wraps, salad in small containers, dry soup mixes in containers, cookies, etc. There were also soft drinks and hot drinks such as coffee. Surprisingly, alcohol was also available. The Wi-Fi connection was good. One thing to note, there is no toilet facility in this lounge, so the guests have to use the ones outside of the lounge in the airport hallways. But I was able to return to the lounge after using the toilet. Well, that was my lounge hopping. In about 2 hours, I checked out 3 lounges. Have you also undertaken a similar adventure? So, was my lounge hopping worth it? There was a time, perhaps 15 years ago, I would have tried all the dishes in every lounge and tried their alcohol and still be ready to enjoy all the meals available on board a long-haul business class flight. But midlife means one's appetite isn't the same anymore, and even if one wishes to try out everything, the digestive system doesn't cooperate. The priority for me here was to enjoy the business class flight fully. So I had to tame my desire to taste all the lounge food. I just had a beer at the first lounge and some food. The same thing at the Maharaja Lounge as well. Some food and a beer. And then when I went to the Primeclass Lounge, I just had a cookie. As to the lounges, I wanted to test the facilities and the general ambiance of each lounge, and in that task, I did succeed. Well, that's it for this edition of the Adventures of Midlife video journal. In this episode, I tried out 3 lounges for business class passengers at JFK Airport's Terminal 4. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my video. Till next time, ciao!